last you guys gathered here, you had traveled to the 10-town city of Her Orchestral, where you had some drinks at a bar called the Hook, Line, and Sinker, and you went to FANFARE's expeditions, where you had decided that what you had wanted to do was to climb up to the peak of Kelvin's Cairn after you had learned from one of the magic mirrors that there was something atop the mountain that might aid you in your quest. While in the town of Her Orchestral, you encountered the speaker of town, who's a dragonborn man buried in the snow, who was searching for invisible thieves that were raiding the town and had stolen the light and the lantern outside of the inn that you stayed at, which was an inn called the Northern Light, named after the very thing that was stolen. I told you that they seem to be taking various crystals that are around town, famous pieces of something that he called Chardonnay. Anyways, you agreed to help the speaker of the town and try to help suss out the mystery of the invisible thieves. He thought it was the dwarves that had come out of the local vale. The proprietors of the Northern Light Inn, two sisters, who provided you your room and board, told you no, it wouldn't be no dwarves. Dwarves, we would have been seen, would have been caught. Noisy, rabblesome folk, not able to sneak through anything. No, certainly not dwarves. Something else, something darker is going on with invisible stalkers around these parts. You had arranged before meeting said speaker of town, you had arranged to take an expedition up to the top of the mountain with one of the local guides at FANFARE's expeditions. A gentleman that was one of the two proprietors of FANFARE's, a man by the name Atnas Swift. Atnas basically agreed to do it for a sum of gold that you guys agreed upon, and he would be in charge of the expedition, and no arguments were to be had. On the way up the mountain, you encountered a herd of goat, and you encountered an avalanche that nearly wiped all of you out, if not for the quick thinking on the part of party members to sprinkle pixie dust and to levitate and fly and to hoist each other out of the way of the swiftly falling snow. After crossing the avalanche plain, you came across the frozen solid and unfortunately deceased body of Garrett, the young man who had led an expedition up the mountain previously. The rest of his party that he was leading nowhere to be found, and no dogs or other such items. You had found their base campsite previously down the mountain. I think that's all I can recall off the top of my head, and where we find ourselves now is after you had climbed or passed by where Garrett's body was, you made your way to a portion of the mountain where a steep climb was to ensue. And Artist Swift told you that camp needed to be made as the light was growing dim, and this would be a perilous climb up the steep portion of the mountain going forward. So that's where I will take you there now after setting the tone. You guys were preparing for trying to batten down for the evening, I think.
Jeff,
yes.
I don't know that we asked, or I don't remember. Do we continue to see the tracks?
The tracks that had been pointed out to you, the dwarven tracks that were heading into the mountains.
The invisible tracks? Yeah.
The tracks of the invisible. You sort of lost them along the way once you started climbing the mountain. They had headed towards Kelvin's Cairn, but veered off somewhat. So you've kind of lost those tracks.
Okay, so they were going this way, but not quite up the mountain.
Correct. That's right.
All right.
Trying to set the rest of the tone here for you, the sound tone. There's a lot of different sound options here. I don't want all of them. How is the sound balance? Is it we good? Is it too soft? Can we hear the wind?
It's good.
I think it's
Yeah,
good.
it's good.
All right. I will take you there now. To the side of the mountain that you are currently clinging onto. It's getting a little bit late. I think you were going to maybe try to cast Tiny Hut or something and batten down the hatches here, as Artist Swift tells you it's time to make for camp. But before I commit you to doing that and doing a night on the side of the mountain, what are you guys wanting to do?
That for sure.
Tiny hut.
So casting up the tiny hut, is that what you're going to do, Toot?
Yeah, if nobody else wants to do anything before I do that.
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
giving the opportunity in case, in case there was
I guess before we settle down for the night, I'm going to do just a little circuit around our general area to see if I notice anything about our environment in regard to animal tracks or anything like that.
Okay. Roll me survival.
Okay.
Let's see here. 16. You notice a few what look like maybe goat tracks. You don't see any large game or anything like that. The wind is blowing pretty heavily. There's not really human tracks, but as you're looking around, you can see what looks like old pythons that have been hammered into the side of what looks like a glacial wall that you're up against. And you can see where climbers have ascended the ice wall previously. And you mostly see a few goat tracks, but no other there are some birds that occasionally are circling, but the wind is quite heavy and you don't see many birds. Mostly you saw a large bird, like a hawk or something like that, a bird of prey circling high, but no songbirds or anything. It's cold and you're actually quite high. You find it kind of hard to breathe here, actually.
Okay, well, I'll report that back to the gang.
No monsters or anything. You find giant ogre tracks. Freshly painted. They look like this. Green. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So Toot's casting up Tiny Hut.
I will.
All right. You disguising the Tiny Hut, Toot, or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, probably a little bit. I mean, it's gonna look a little bit like the snow around us.
Gotcha.
I may actually even put it closer to the edge of the cliff so that it looks like it's maybe a portion of the cliff that's jutting out.
Artis has been preparing a tent that he had in his bedroll. When you cast this, he looks over at you all and he seems quite impressed. He says, quite resourceful, I see. Well, this shall keep us warmer than the tent will. And I suppose we can keep the tents in here, as it were. And shuffles all of their stuff, including his tent and bedroll, into the tiny hut. Are you guys setting a watch, or is everyone just going to sleep inside of the hut?
I'll take a watch.
I'll take either the first or the last watch, whichever.
Okay.
I'll
First
take a
watch
watch.
First watch for Leonard. Second watch for Granite Guts.
I'll
Third
take
watch.
watch.
Third watch for Toot. Fourth watch for Harkus. Okay. I need my dice. Where are my dice? All right. Let me just roll this. Okay. All right. The night passes without much event. You don't hear any animals or anything, but you do hear just the whipping blizzardy wind. Like 8 hours have passed by, and when you wake up, when everybody else wakes up, you find that the wind is just absolutely out of control, and it is snowing now. Just you can't even see like 5 feet in front of yourself, or like how heavy and rough the winds are. Outside, just blinding snow. Artist sort of looks out at all of you and he says, "Ah, well, we'll be blessed by Ariel's vengeance today, it would seem. I think we'll have to batten down and wait for the storm to clear." It is terribly cold, but you seem to be like in essentially like a mountainside blizzard here on the side of the mountain. What is everyone doing? Day has passed. Tiny hut is dispelled because 8 hours have gone by. It is blindingly cold and the wind is blowing upon you. What's everyone want to do?
We do have the ability to control the weather.
Only
Tiny
a
hut
handful
is-
only a handful of times though.
Yeah, tiny hut is also a ritual, so I could do it again and we could just wait it out too.
Laziest campaign ever.
I like that it's a ritual spell. You're just like, we're just gonna sit here. You have food and supplies, I assume?
We bought those when we bought the
Yep.
climbing ropes and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do? You gonna try to control the weather? You gonna wait it out in a catch another tiny hut and just sit and wait?
I vote
think-
for I vote for playing Pinochle in the hut.
Yeah, I think trying to wait it out is reasonable.
I was gonna make pancakes.
Okay, I will
Okay.
recast the hut.
Okay, so you guys have some downtime activity then while you're sort of sitting it out. Artis is pleased that you're able to recast the hut again, and everyone is able to somewhat stay warm while you're enduring this blizzard. What are you guys going to do during your downtime here? The opportunity to attune to things, study something, gain a new proficiency, read a book.
So I picked up some tinkerer's tools and
Mhm.
some smith's tools back before, so I'm going to spend some time sort of looking at those and trying to, particularly the tinkerer's tools, just sort of working my way around with those and
Okay.
getting a good feel for them.
Okay, so you spend a day messing with tinkerer's tools, and do you have any like just sort of playing around with them, tinkering on things?
Yeah,
I'll
just
cr-
sort of goofing around with some
Okay,
things that I've got in my backpack. And
all right. I'll grant you that you are halfway to proficiency with tinkerer's tools then. So, if you spend another day tinkering around, you would be able to use your proficiency bonus with tinkerer's tools.
Jeff, I am going to use the right tool for the job ability to fashion some painter's supplies.
Okay.
And I'm going to use those painter's supplies to create pictures of the visions that we had, or that
nice.
I have, for the answers, in case, thinking if we need to show the pictures to people or something,
Yeah, you're able to do that. You have, from the best of your memory, that you're able to conjure. As you're sort of doing that, you recall the peak of the mountain where you're at, and there being some sort of bright shine that emanated from the very peak of the mountain. As you're drawing that or painting that, artist sort of looks at it and he says, the Kelvin's cairn where we be climbing. What's the bright light we drawing upon it?
That, my friend, is a great question. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
You intend to climb to the very peak, eh? I am not sure how many people have actually been able to climb to the peak. We most make it to the plateaus, to the high plateau, and call that a victory. Make it to the very, very peak, well, that is a more difficult climb. But if you intend to make it there, I will do my best. You may be the first of your kind to ever climb it.
Well, get us as far as you can, and we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. A day and a night pass, and the next day the weather is clearer, and you find yourself before the giant wall of ice.
Jeff, just as a question.
Yes.
I have in my inventory written down Summer Star, which I think was the...
Yes, that's the device.
So does that have a number of uses? Does it?
Yes.
Did I use it up already?
No, you've not used it up already.
Okay.
I wanted to say you have 3 uses of the ability to cast the spell Control Weather.
Okay.
You used 1 of them, so you got
Yes.
2 more.
I have 2 more left. Okay.
And you basically can quell the storm. Although you guys seem to have an ability to climb into a hut to wait out any storm, so I suspect that might be useful in like layers and things like that. I'm fighting the ice dragon. It casts ice storm. No, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, it takes a minute to cast, so I think.
Sure.
It's not the solution to every problem, just most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking of the summer star. Like, you're fighting in a place where it casts like ice storm. Nope, I control the weather, or something like that. All right, you're before this wall of ice. Artist Swift grabs out his crampons and slaps on the giant metal spikes to his boots. They look sort of like what modern crampons would look like. And begins with a pickaxe, jabs it into the ice wall, tosses a rope up to a python that has already been hammered into the ice wall, and loops the rope through it, and begins to ascend the ice wall, one pick and crampon step at a time. Motions to all of you and says, "Onward and upward if you wish to climb." And are you all following or doing something else?
Yeah,
Let's go.
I'll follow.
I'll
Okay.
follow.
All right, everybody who's climbing, I need you all to make athletic checks.
Uh-oh.
Everybody make athletic checks.
Ooh.
Make
And
group
just let us
athletics checks.
follow. Oh, good. Nice.
Well, I got a 14. Mine didn't transfer over again for whatever reason.
I refreshed.
You got a 24, Harkus?
Yes. I refreshed the Roll20 window and then refreshed the D&D Beyond window, and mine works now.
All right.
Maybe
So,
that's what I'm doing. Maybe I need to open Roll20 first.
I don't know.
Okay.
I've never had so much
It's
trouble.
just now started doing this for whatever reason, the past couple of weeks.
All right. And you said you got a 14.
14.
Wow, you guys rolled really well on all of this. Okay, it was a group check DC 15. And half of you had to get better than a 15
Oh,
Or-
nice.
or you all fail to climb up and everybody gains a level of exhaustion for each time you all get get less than 15. So you all scaled tremendously well. And Artis is tremendously impressed as you make it up to the top of the cliff face. Reach the top. You find yourself on a somewhat narrowed ledge as you're sort of continuing to ascend. And Granite Guts, I need you to roll me perception, please.
Okay. And for some reason, whenever I need to roll perception, I immediately go to deception, which is not the same thing at all.
No, it's really not. Granite Guts, with a perception, you notice you do see. You were looking for like signs of life and animal life earlier, and you catch what does look like some large prints in the snow, and hear the ever so faint sound of some sort of beastly thing making a noise in the distance.
Okay. And I have no way of telling any more detail about what exactly the prints may, whether the humanoid or animal or any more detail?
They are large, they are bipedal, and claw-footed.
Oh my goodness. All right. I report this to the group, and I think, and I say, I think we should be on the lookout. I'm not going to say it's a Yeti, but I'm not going to say it's not.
How many sets of Yeti prints does Cadillac see?
He sees. Interesting. Good question. Cadillac, you see one set of Yeti prints. The other thing, or of prints, but the other thing that you see, Cadillac, is a scrap of what looks like some sort of jacket or clothing or something on the ground, sort of in the far distance up there. Sort of piece of like bright colored cloth or something that sort of is in the snow.
Okay, so there are cliffs along to our left. Do they
along to your? This would be like along to your right. Are you talking about the mountainous areas on the left?
Yeah. Are there any like cliffs or anything that would provide any cover?
Yeah. As you sort of go around Granite Guts, you can see that there's depth to them, where it sort of like can like loop back behind this area, sort of here.
Yep.
Like it's more open, and there would be cover back there.
Okay. I think I will try to go up there and take a look at the garments.
As you do, Granite Guts, you loop around behind that first like area of rocks, outcroppings, and you see the garment buried in the snow. It appears to be like a jacket or something. It's made out of leather, but it's a funny looking leather that you don't really recognize. It's kind of a bright yellow color. Maybe it's been dyed, or maybe it's some sort of leather animal that you don't recognize. And it's got fur stuffed on the inside of it. It looks really quite warm. It's torn though. You only see pieces of it. And as you round the corner, Granite Guts, you actually see the mouth of a large open cave that you didn't see before as you sort of round around that corner.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I sort of stop proceeding any further, and then I wait, I guess, for the group to catch up.
Yeah, and everybody eventually makes their way around there. Artist looks at you all and says, "I don't recognize this area."
I'm gonna go ahead and ready my lance.
Okay.
Just to be on the safe side.
Yeah. Your lance is set and ready.
Jeff, while Leonard has been walking up the mountain, I'm keeping an eye out for the frozen tiefling. Like,
Okay.
looking for signs of her or her party or whatever.
Roll me investigation.
Let's see. Investigation.
You don't see any frozen tiefling. You do see what looks like there's signs of recent activity in this area. There are more of the large creature footprints, and you actually see some what looks like the snow here in this area is frozen sort of rock hard. So footprints have sort of hung around a little bit longer. They haven't been totally obscured by the snow. They're sort of left there, like they've melted a bit and then refrozen. It's a bit distorted looking though. But there's what you think are maybe some humanoid looking footprints, both heading past the cave and then some heading towards the cave and even potentially like towards and into it. And roll me perception real quick. I guess Leonard. 11. Leonard, you hear something on the wind that you know is out of place. But with an 11, you're not really sure like what you heard. Maybe it was an animal noise, or maybe it was... But you heard something that sort of cried out.
Like from the cave, do I feel like, or from up the mountain?
Yeah, like from the cave. It wasn't monstrous or a low growl or anything, but just like I don't know.
Okay, I'll let everybody know sort of what I saw and what I'm thinking and what I heard, and see if this.
I got Melissa to laugh. That was the only goal.
If this unknown noise is something that we would like to explore further.
Nobody else really heard it, as you were the one that was sort of perceiving and looking.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody that I think I heard something. Scream.
I don't have like a noise that would sort of sound like this.
But it was not a Yeti scream.
Definitely not.
Okay.
So you don't know exactly what it was. With an 11.
All right. I'll just let everybody know that I think I heard something, somebody.
So is this
out.
So Leonard, can you tell if it was it a scream of terror, of alarm?
He can't tell.
Okay.
He didn't roll high enough.
Okay.
He just heard something.
Pleasure?
Yell out.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the cave.
I was thinking whether to ask that.
I was trying so hard.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, I need everybody to think of what the title of the adult movie would be involving the Yeti.
I'm not going to say it because it'd be entirely inappropriate.
Yeti's in the cave.
No.
The Yeti always knocks once, no, twice.
Yeti all night long.
All right, that's what you see. That's what you see. That's what you hear.
Anybody stealthy?
Absolutely not.
No.
Somehow I have a +6 to stealth.
You what?
I'm
Harkins.
not.
Hey, I'm
Harkins,
looking at mine.
the giant orc carrying a million animals.
I know.
I think
so
it's. I think it's.
I had a
I
plus
think it's
two
my
somehow.
monkish nature
Yeah.
Is it
but-
because
That's the only
everyone?
way.
Is it because everyone assumes you're an animal carrying all these furs around?
Yes. It's like
He is a
John
Yeti.
Turturro. It's like John Turturro and Mr. Deeds. I fear you underestimate my sneakiness.
Very sneaky,
Yeah.
sir.
I-
Okay, so sneaky monk man, what you doing?
Yeah, I'm as sneaky as you, but I can't see well in the dark, so I don't know that a cave would be good, but I could make you invisible
Hey,
for an
that seems
hour
pretty good.
if you wanted to safely take a look.
Fine with me. I mean, I'm here to kill Yetis anyway, so I'm sort of chomping at the bit, ready to go,
Well, if you do
drooling
anything,
over the potential for pelts. So
if you attack or if you cast a spell or anything like that, you will not be invisible anymore. So
all right, probably I doubt I'm going to attack on my own. Seems like a death wish, but I can certainly come back and tell everybody as long as we're united in the desire to hunt Yeti.
Okay. So we've got invisible Harkus.
yeah, so assuming everybody else is okay with this, I will put my hand on his shoulder and I'll say, now you see him, now you don't. And
Harkus, you're invisible. As you all approach the mouth of the cave, which is what you see right before you here, heading this way, being the mouth of the cave, Harkus, I'll put you before the mouth. You are invisible, Harkus. The cave is about 20 feet high and has a concave roof, and most of the floor before you, Harkus, as you sort of can peer in there, seems to have fallen away, forming a deep chasm. From where you're standing, you can't see how deep it is. There is a rocky ledge sort of surrounding the chasm on each side. You can see to the... yeah, I think that's probably all you can sort of see from there.
All right. I'm gonna sort of walk in. I guess I need to be. I guess I'm invisible but not quiet, so I need to sort of creep quietly.
Yeah, I'll tell you if you need to roll stealth.
Okay.
To your left, you can see a 1 foot thick sheet of ice spans the southern part of the chasm. And there is a rocky ledge to your right side. And the chasm, as you approach it there, looks like it is maybe 100 or so feet deep.
Okay.
Hard to tell.
I think I'm going to stick to this side, which seems to be not icy and not as dangerous. Do I still have my fancy grippy boots on?
Your crampons,
Yes.
they're not so good for walking on the ground, so you probably would have taken them off when you got off of the top of the climbing sheet. If you want to put them back on, you certainly can.
I assume that's going to make more noise if I do that.
Yeah. Probably. You would kind of click. This appears to be sort of ahead of you, you see what looks like a stone bridge that crosses over a space over the chasm. It is not a sheet of ice like the other side, but it is stone.
Okay. I think I'm just going to take my time and not put the crampons back on, but just sort of walk carefully and try to stay as close to the center as I can so that I'm not in danger.
As you walk carefully and you're able to cross over the stone bridge here without too much effort. It is as you're in here now, you can definitely hear, Harkus, you hear what sounds like a sudden shriek and a pained scream from what sounds like a humanoid creature, and you hear the sounds of a very strange sound because it sounds like a monstrous little laugh, and then you hear another like deep roar.
Hmm. And that's from back here.
Further deep into the cave. As you move forward, the floor of this tunnel is strewn with bones. They look like bits of flesh are still clinging to the bones and fur. It looks like maybe a bear's body. Amid the bones of what looks like maybe a bear lying on the ground is a horrific sight. You see what looks like the head of a Goliath man that has been ripped from its shoulders and gnawed upon and stuffed in a niche dug out in the wall. And you see actually several other like crude niches in the walls that hold the frozen heads of different humanoids that seemingly have been previously decapitated. One of them is a dwarven head that has a helmet on his head.
Can I think I'd like to go over and look at that one. Where is?
Yep. As you look at the dwarven head, it has a helmet on it. Helmet is of somewhat nice make, and it looks fresher than some of the other ones. The Goliath head looks about the same agedness as the dwarven head. Are you?
Oh, I want the helmet. I want the helmet.
Okay. You pick up
I
the
very
helmet,
much want it.
and on the inside of the helmet, it is like a Viking helmet. It has Viking horns. It looks fabulous on you. On the inside of it, it has a name written, and it says Ubak.
Ubak. Okay.
You will recall this jogs a memory in your mind, Harkus, of the three dwarves in Bryn Shander that hired you to to deliver the iron to Black Iron after they had to abandon it after they were attacked by a Yeti, and they mourned the death of their poor friend Ubak, whose head was torn from his shoulders. In fact, you recall finding the headless body of poor Ubak previously on the trail to where said Yeti had attacked.
The last poor Ubak, I knew him not very well.
But you have Ubak's help.
But I have Ubak's helm.
Perhaps Ubak's friends would pay handsomely for Ubak's helm.
That is correct.
Or his head returned to his body for a proper burial. Who knows?
We'll deal with that in a minute. Okay.
As you're standing there, you hear the strangest sound. You hear a smashing sound, a rolling smashing sound, and then crazy little laughter. And you hear a oof.
Okay, well, I'm
Coming
just gonna keep making my way back here. Stealthy as she goes.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check.
Okay.
As you round this corner, you see come into view what looks like small cage made out of bones. It's not a small cage, but it is fashioned into like a ball-like shape, made out of maybe the rib bones of maybe a whale or bear or some sort of animal. They are strapped together with pieces of leather or some sort. Inside of this cage made into the shape of a ball is a humanoid creature. You can tell that it is a halfling person. And she's still wearing like a coat and things like that and appears to be alive, although not looking good. You're not sure how she's alive. And a small, what you can only describe as childlike Yeti runs up behind the cage and gives it a swift kick, and the caged ball with the halfling in it starts rolling the opposite direction along the floor, just end over end over end, as the halfling woman just lets out a as she rolls inside of this cage of bones, and you hear the Yeti child just go and just give a cackless laugh as it rolls out into the distance, out of your sight.
Okay. I'm just gonna walk up just a little bit more and see if I can tell sort of where they went or if there's anything else in there.
Yeah, roll me another stealth check, please.
Oh, I'm pushing my luck.
As you round the corner, you see a large-looking Yeti creature that appears to be some sort of matriarchal-looking figure or something.
Okay.
And then there is another slightly bigger Yeti, but doesn't look like a full-grown Yeti. There's Big Brother and Mama is what you gather here. It's not clear where Daddy is. And then you remember, oh yeah, I murdered Daddy.
Poor Yeti.
Okay.
And as you're standing there, the Yeti child kicks the cage again that contains the halfling woman, and it rolls over about 20 feet in front of you as she just barrel rolls, and you see her bracing herself each time she rolls through the cage. And the Yeti child sort of claps its hands and gives like a giggle, and the larger Yeti, what you judge to be female, lets out a horrific roar. And you are still invisible and still stealthy.
Okay.
And
So at this point, I think I've seen what I need to see.
the Yeti child runs over and grabs the cage. And as the Yeti child gets close to you, I need you to roll me another stealth check.
Okay.
Especially as you're trying to move backwards. You remain stealthy. The Yeti child doesn't pick up any notion of
So-
you.
I'm gonna make my way around this corner and sort of back out, let everybody know what I've.
All right, you're going back out of the cave.
Yes.
All right, I'll take you out to the outside.
Okay.
You rejoin the rest of the party outside.
We don't know it.
Harkus, you're still invisible as you make your way outside.
Okay, so as I make my way out there, I don't have any vision of any. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, did you not have
Oh.
vision of any of that?
As we, no, I do. It was just I was zoomed in on the wrong part.
Okay. Forget that 1 square equals 5 feet thing. That's
Yeah. So as I make my way out there, as quietly as I can, I'm gonna walk up on Granite Guts, and I'm gonna get behind him and just take the broad side of my sword and smack him on the backside and be like, huzzah! Because I've been told that I become uninvisible once I strike somebody. So I'm not trying to injure him. I'm just trying to have a little bit of pizzazz as I suddenly
Surprise
appear in
spanking.
the midst of everyone.
Okay, so I had readied my lance. I'm not kidding. I 100%, because I'm already on edge, and that's the reason I got out the lance. 100%, I swing around my lance.
okay. Granite Guts, you swing it around. I want you to make me an attack roll disadvantage since Harkus is invisible and you have no idea where you're getting slapped from.
Okay.
You're making a disadvantaged attack roll.
Okay. Let's see if I can get D&D Beyond to behave here with the disadvantage. No, it's not going to. So we'll
just do it twice.
do it twice. Yep.
Oh, geez.
18. Does 18 hit?
Oh, sure, that hits.
All right, give me the damage.
Roll that beautiful damage footage.
Yeah,
Um,
you're lucky it wasn't 2 crits.
yeah, really.
Arcus, Granite Guts, as you slap him on the back, turns around and expertly just stabs you through the face with his lance. All right, we'll say you take half that. So you take 3 piercing damage, as he didn't really have the full he didn't know where you were. He was swinging, and he just kind of clipped you. So you take 3 piercing, and you pop
Okay.
back into existence.
Yeah, I like to think I didn't hit him necessarily with the business end. I just slammed into him with the side of the lance, maybe.
You smacked him in the side with it.
Yeah.
As you're
Damn it,
sort of
man, it was a
whirring
joke.
it around. As you take 3 piercing. Or 3 slashing, we'll call it.
Yeah. I'm going to take those 3 slashing damage out on a CPAP machine later.
I love the canon of the Granite Guts has sleep apnea.
Yeah.
All right. You guys are here before the cave. Harcus, you're able to tell everybody what you saw. And now you all very clearly hear
Okay.
inside of the cave.
I-
Harcus, why don't you give me a medicine roll?
Okay. So I think when I'm telling everyone about this, what I'm telling them is primarily about the halfling in the cage.
Yeah, she's alive.
I'm also at the same time, after seeing after the realization that this is the family of the Yeti that we've destroyed, I am a little bit conflicted about going in and killing a mother and a small Yeti, though I'm less conflicted about killing Big Brother Yeti. The mom and baby Yeti make me a little more hesitant, though.
With a
Not
7
enough-
medicine
not
check.
enough to say no, we're not doing it after seeing the baby Yeti kick the halfling around.
Yeah, the baby Yeti has been kicking the halfling
Yeah.
woman
But I'm a little conflicted.
around inside of the cage.
Yeah. So
What does everybody want to do with that information? What does Granite Guts think?
I share a little bit of a conflicted thought. At the same time, I mean, these are Yeti. And they're going to, terrorize people. So that's
Do you tell them about the collection of heads that you found of
Yes.
people?
Yeah.
And I am
Like-
sporting my new dwarven.
On the front of it, it just says Ubak.
Yeah.
It's got a little nameplate on the front where you're wearing your dwarven Viking horns, and it just says Ubak.
It's fantastic.
So I say as I slowly sort of come up behind Harcus and without saying anything, lay on hands him for 3 points. Well, maybe do we have anything that could seal the entrance of the cave? And then we'll just let nature have its way one way or another. With the
Artist
Yeti.
looks at you all and says, "You intend just to leave her to die in there? There's a Yeti."
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in getting the halfling out.
I mean, I guess Granite Guts does believe in letting nature take its course.
I mean, if we're going to get the halfling, that will mean killing probably the Yeti, and so.
But
Unless
leaving
there's
the
a smart-
halfling means that they're going to kill the halfling.
Well, the halfling's fate may have already been sealed before we got here.
Well, you know that what I can say is Harcus rolled a 7 medicine check. So what Harcus knows is the halfling is alive.
And there might be
I
another.
think
there
if
might be
we
another.
I think what we're saying is if we rescue the halfling, we're killing the Yeti. That's what we're saying.
Unless you have a smart way to do this.
And I'm getting some pelts.
Does this look like man-made or is
Well,
it
we
a
know how
natural
Harcus is
cave?
voting.
The cave looks natural. Well, I guess any dwarf that is stone cunning. So Granite Guts can just slap you on the shoulder and say, "It's a natural cave, boy."
So if we cave it
It's
in, you
true.
don't think they can get out?
Unless there's another entrance to the cave.
In which case, they'll be super pissed off.
Mhm.
And it's
And-
not going to be the baby rolling us in cages.
That's right. So yeah, I guess the question is just, do we want to save the halfling and be big damn heroes? And if so, it is going to mean probably dealing with baby Yeti, mama Yeti.
What does Toot think?
Dude, just he grabs a dagger that he's like literally never used. It's probably still in like the plastic wrapper. And he says for Ubak.
Toot unwraps it. What does Ordella say at Toot's display?
I'm cool with everybody else. Sorry, I got best Star Trek movie ever on. So
You were watching a Star Trek movie while we play?
Huh? This one?
yeah.
For shame. What about I've lost my entire train of thought. I apologize.
Sorry.
Rocks
What
fall,
about-
Ordella dies.
What about Yatara? What does Yatara think?
I think Cantrell needs another pelt.
At least one.
At least one.
I mean, they need to see their dad again. So
It sounds like most of the party wants to go in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
Leonard supports rescuing the helpless halfling from some vile yetis.
All right, how are we doing it?
Marcus, could you like draw us a map or anything like that? Like, what does this cave look like inside?
Oh, yes, I'm very artistic.
Harkus can tell you that there is a icy bridge to the east. I'm sorry, to the west, and a stonish bridge to the east over a deep chasm. He followed the stone bridge to the east through a room full of skulls and body parts into a open chasm that contained the two yetis, older female and a younger male, and a baby that was kicking around a halfling woman.
I could do two different things that might could help us out, but I don't know if they would be applicable because I'm struggling to actually picture the layout. Two things. I could make two people invisible if that would help. I could also potentially cast silence and kind of muffle our approach if that would be in a place that maybe we wouldn't be seen but could potentially have been heard.
Either of those might be very useful. What do you think, Harkus, to that, since you've seen the layout? Toot says I could make a couple more people invisible, or I could cast silence, or both, on an area.
Both are concentration, so I could only do one.
Okay, so invisibility or silence, whichever Harkus thinks would be more helpful.
Silence would be a 40-foot radius.
Unless you have a method maybe to sneak up and rescue the halfling without fighting under silence and then run out of there.
Hey, how much do we think the halfling weighs?
Halflings are not heavy. You carry them. Like half a person?
and like the field of silence move.
No,
You just oh well.
no, it would be
You
static.
a halfling weighs about 40 pounds. So Yatara, you could probably sling one over your shoulder and run.
I mean, I could make two of us invisible and we try to free the halfling while everybody else causes a distraction and then we run or something, but
Yeah, I can make a distraction.
Whatever you guys.
less than walking out of there with pelts, but I see the utility in it.
I mean, if they follow us out, they're fair game.
Very true. So, are you guys all entering the cave now?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it.
You can go ahead and enter and do whatever you think is right. I'll play-
What is our guide following us in, or is he?
Yeah, Artis is willing to assist. He says, "I'm not much of a fighter, but I'll do what I can." He has a short sword.
Before we move too far in, like strategy, am I making people invisible or what are we doing?
How many people can you make invisible?
If I upcast it, I could make 2.
Maybe some of us get held in reserve, and then the stealthy people try to get in and get out.
Yeah, but Yeti kicking around a ball, it's not like we're just going to be able to sneak in, grab the halfling.
Yeah, I mean, Leonard is ready to go in guns blazing.
Well, Mike can create a distraction. How far away are we talking about?
Well, Harkus would estimate from where he was hiding the size of that room where the Yeti was kicking around the ball was probably about 60 feet. Give or take. Maybe 80 feet, 60 to 80 feet from one end to the other.
I kind of think we go in, some of us go in guns blazing while maybe the invisible people then try to make good the escape of the gnome. It was a gnome, right?
Halfling.
Halfling.
Okay.
That's my thought.
I'm perfectly content to walk in and just blow a cone of fire at them.
I
while
was
we-
say cast fireball without
Yeah,
damaging
well,
them.
I mean, I've got my sort of dragon breath that.
Okay. Who is in front of the line?
Yeah, I'll be on the explodey team too.
Okay, so who's in front?
Okay, does someone else want to be invisible with me, or is this going to be Atmos helping do this?
He'll just do whatever. Atmos will do whatever you want him to do.
I'll be invisible too if you want.
Okay, Ordella and Toot, the invisible
Okay.
squad.
I'll go behind Leonard.
All right, Leonard, you're up front with Granite
Well,
Guts
my
behind.
plan was to walk behind Harkus.
All right, Harkus, you're up front. Harkus, then Leonard, then Granite Guts.
And
Who-
let's go make a
who's-
ruckus.
Who's following that? As you enter, you two see, as you enter, you three, leading the pack here. Yatara, Toot, and Ordella and Atmos are sort of leading up the rear. You see to your left a sheet of ice, thick ice, about a foot thick, that is spanning this open chasm that is about 80 feet deep. And to your right, you see a stone bridge that is crossing the same chasm that Harkus described that he crossed over. Harkus, are you just leading them all across said stoned bridge?
Yes.
You should all be able to see, I think, what we're describing at this point.
Okay, yeah. So the ice is also a potential bridge.
Yes. Leonard, roll me a insight check. You're an artificer, so Leonard, now that you're looking at things from an engineering mind, Leonard, you think that ice is collapsible with a good enough hit or kaboom, a shatter, or maybe if you just like something wailed on it enough, that ice would fall down into that deep pit.
So do we think we could lure them to here and then bust it up so we don't have to fight them?
Yeah, Leonard, you think that might can happen. You'd have to figure out how to make that happen. But your
So
engineering, your artificer engineering sense gives you the sense that maybe that could happen.
I'll let everybody know that I think that could be a way to avoid getting murdered by a Yeti. Because as I recall, the last time we encountered the Yeti, it didn't go so great.
Nope.
So if our invisible folks perhaps could, I don't know. There's the beginnings of a plan there, at least.
Yeah, I think if they could go that way, could at least firebolt the ice and at least try to destroy it.
I mean, I have shatter. I could do that. The problem is if I'm invisible and I cast a spell, we're no longer invisible. So whatever it is that we're doing, we need to do ahead of time.
Does anybody have Misty Step?
I also have that.
Okay, so I have shatter. I can bust up this, but what I worry is that somebody's going to have to be bait to lure them to, let's see, the other side of this bridge over here, wherever that is. And then that person is either going to have to traverse an ice bridge, which seems like it can be slippery and fraught with peril, or Misty Step across. Or we could just kill them.
or as we run across. Yeah, I don't know if my fire breath would melt an icy bridge.
Probably not quickly.
Probably not fast enough.
I mean, there are a broad number of solutions to our problem, but if we wanted to not fight Yetis, there I think is a viable pathway to it.
I'm just going to kind of stand off to the corner with like my arms crossed, looking sort of sullen, because none of these sound like I'm going to walk out of here with any pelts.
Arcus, do you say anything like, I wish to just kill the beast?
Yeah.
Whatever doesn't damage the pelts.
Yes. After the bridge collapses, can I go down and retrieve the pelts?
You hear the sound of another oof in the distance.
Okay.
Like when you say horribly mangled, will the pelt still be okay?
Right. Right.
Well, I, for one, would be happy to try to save the lives of the Yeti if possible. So if there's a way I can help in this, but I'm not the quietest.
Well, and we don't have to lure the Yetis onto the ice bridge and destroy it, falling them to their deaths. We could just get them on the other side of the chasm and destroy it, so they have to walk the long way around, and then we run. And we could get the halfling out through the ice bridge. I don't know. There are ways around this, I feel like, but
I mean, if you would like to save them, I learned my lesson and I relearned Featherfall, so I could save them from a perilous death.
And they would slowly float to the ground.
Yeah.
And they would slowly float down the chasm with no way up.
And then die slowly of starvation over.
Right.
I mean, we didn't necessarily kill them.
Because the Yeti certainly can't climb a 100-foot chasm.
Absolutely not. It's impossible.
You can't tell that Yeti what to do.
So what do we want to do? Like, I'm fine with making 2 people invisible and me staying visible so that I can Misty Step away if I need to. If I need to be bait, I can do that.
Arcus points down the chasm and says, through there, across the stone bridge, and says, through there's all the skulls. And points to the helmet of Ubak.
Jeff, how easily do I think I can traverse this bridge?
The ice bridge?
Yeah.
Roll me insight.
Because ice seems slippery.
It's slippery, but you think you could do it. With a 19 insight, you think you could do it?
Okay, and I could put my little my little booties on?
Yeah, you got crampons. You know yourself. Yeah, I can put on those crampons. Take me a minute, put them on, take them off, but I can do it.
Can I just put them on and leave them on?
Sure. They click real loud.
Oh yeah. There is that. Because I'm less worried about getting across, and perhaps more worried about getting back. Because I think the kid likes to play with stuff. I've got my little drone. I can probably lure the kid over to this chasm and destroy the bridge, maybe. I don't know. Do we want to be humanitarians or Yeti murderers? I guess is the...
No,
All right,
I like
let's have
that
a
idea.
let's have a vote. All ye who vote for Yeti murder, hands up. We got 2 votes for Yeti murder, which I take it means there are 3 votes for Yeti humanitarian. Who votes for Yeti humanitarian?
Okay, so
Uba
first
says
of all,
yes.
it would be Yetitarian, I think.
Yetitarian. Who votes to be a Yetitarian?
I mean,
1 vote.
I mean, I think we should try.
In Switzerland?
yeah, we can try.
That is a
But I
person
mean,
who
if they
only
die,
eats
they
Yeti.
die.
I think you have voted. The party has voted to be Yetitarian. Okay.
Well, mark this on your calendar because I guess this is the first time we have to not kill something.
All right. Are you crossing the ice bridge, or are you going to try to cross the ice bridge, or are you going to cross the stone bridge where Harkus near the way?
So I feel Harkus knows the way this way. It seems like, just looking at the layout of this place from what has been described, that this might be closer to the person. So if we could go the short way, get the person out, and then destroy the bridge behind us, we could perhaps avoid all of this. Or we could send a group around this way and a group this way to lure the Yeti.
All right. Let's make a decision. Who's going where?
All right, I guess I'm just gonna lead this way, but as I'm walking, I'm sort of a little bit like a 10-year-old who's kind of pouting at the same time.
Okay.
I will accompany Harkus.
I'll follow
Harkus,
you.
Okay.
Granted, we're heading that way. Leonard, you and Yatara are making your way across the ice sheet.
I'll plan to cross the ice bridge.
Artis will cross the ice bridge with you. Ordella, what way are you going? And Toot, what way are you going? I didn't mean to drag you to make decisions for you.
Yeah, I'll make
Remember Toot.
I'll make both of us invisible, and if they're gonna try to draw them over the ice bridge, I'm thinking we go the stone one.
Artis will stick with the majority. So he'll follow you guys across the stone bridge.
Okay, sneaky, sneaky.
Leonard, as you make your way across there, Leonard and Yatara, you two can move that way. You find yourself in a chasm, or not a chasm, another sort of tunnel that is leading northwards. You hear the sounds of roaring and then creepy laughter of a small Yetikin child.
So I'm
And-
going to, before Toot gets too far up there, I'm going to sort of motion to them to hug against this wall and sort of take the corner kind of carefully.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, none of y'all are invisible. Harkus, you're not. So if you round that corner, you're making stealth checks if you get to where
Yeah.
you can see.
Yeah.
Leonard, you in the distance here can see just barely the cage of bones of the halfling roll along the ground in the dark here. And you see a woman inside of said cage. Roll me a medicine check, Leonard. She's alive.
All right.
There is what appears to be about a 10-foot drop off at the end of your tunnel.
Yeah,
But
I'm
she's-
seeing that.
That she's down beneath. It's not a very hard drop to clear. Maybe 5 or 10 feet, but it's definitely a 5 or 10 foot drop. And you, all of a sudden, into your vision comes the laughing, what looks like small Yeti animal. No bigger than a human. No bigger than one of your partners, actually. About Granite Guts' size. And it sort of gives this weird giggle and gives a kick. And the cage rolls across the other way. As that happens, eventually, Harkus, into your vision on the other side, you see the cage of bones roll and smash up against the wall of the cave close to yours end. And the Yeti child sort of runs out of your sight, Leonard.
Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. Now knowing this layout, I'm going to just move up to try to get a picture of the room.
Are you doing this stealthily, or do you care if you're visible?
Oh no, I am being very stealthy.
Okay,
Like, right here.
Okay, I don't think you need to roll from there yet.
Okay, I'm not going any farther. So,
But if that Yeti came back into this corner over here,
Mhm.
and I'll tell you how I'm doing it, I am rolling a D4 basically, quietly, and it's going towards one of the 4 corners each time.
So my goal, I'm going to talk to Yatara, who's here with me. And I think the best bet for us to be useful is I'm going to summon my drone, get its attention with the drone, and slowly lure it back to the ice bridge. While hopefully, while it's distracted, Team 2 rescue the person.
I like it. And if it doesn't like the drone or it's not getting its attention, I can cast something else to try to get its attention.
Okay.
Leonard, you summon your flame-throwing drone. It appears before you. And I don't know if it makes like a beep, 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 beep sound or something as it appears.
Yeah, like a powering up.
Yep. And it pops out. And in front of you, again, Harkus, you can see the Yeti child actually this time sort of grab the cage and give it a strong push as it rolls somewhat out of sight. Leonard, from where you're at in the darkness, you can't make it out where anything is.
Okay.
But Harkus, all you know, Harkus, is that it's out of sight for you.
With the drone in play, I am going to, and I don't have drone control, but
I can give you some drone control. Hang on. Do I have a... I've never made a token just for drone, so just flash where you want it to go.
I don't have any way to see through the drone, so I have to have visual input on what I want it to do. But
you can send it where you can't see it, but I'm not going to let you see.
Right. But I want to keep, like, I want it to go to here.
Right, the drone sort of beep, 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 out there.
And what I would like,
as that happens, as that appears, all right, what would you like it to do?
so I would like the drone. So my plan is if I get seen, the drone will shoot out fire to draw attention. That's the only thing I have planned for it to do.
Okay, the drone is going to be seen shortly as you float it
Good.
out over the edge.
That's the goal. And maybe the drone will shoot out some fire.
Okay.
And once I see that the drone has gotten this creature's attention, I'm going to signal Yatara that it's time to go back across the bridge and get ready to blow it up.
Okay. All of a sudden, Leonard, you see the halfling person roll in the cage from where you're at near the ledge there. And you're able to now see them clear as day in front of you. And in fact, the halfling woman sort of looks up and sees you, and your eyes meet for a half second next to the drone. and her eyes are bloodshot, and she looks just incredibly weak, and seems to mouth something to you. Roll perception. (21). She mouths help to you.
Okay.
And out of your vision, you see the small Yeti child run up, and it kind of pushes the halfling cage, which rolls a few feet that way. And it seems to be looking at your floating drone there, just almost quizzically, as it sort of is just kind of, it does that dog thing where it kind of like cocks its head to the side and sort of looks directly at it.
Okay.
It's standing right in front of the flame ports on your drone.
Drone is going to shoot fire.
You're gonna, okay. So describe to me how this happens.
So it's sort of right in front of the drone. Drone is going to shoot fire, and really not intending to hit it full bore, but like spinning around and flying up theatrically to draw its attention. I mean, it's going to get hit by fire. Don't get me wrong, but
okay. Go ahead and roll it. The Yeti makes a dexterity saving throw.
Because I think from here, I can't really see what the Yeti is doing. Like, I can see the drone, and I know that it's near, but
give me the damage from the fire as the drone unleashes fire as the Yeti child is standing in its face.
I don't
Please.
think I can aim
I thought
well
we
enough
voted
to-
for like Yeti humanity or something like
I
that.
just
Not setting
don't
them
think I can
ablaze and
aim
wasting
well
a
enough to do this to draw its attention without potentially hitting it.
And you failed.
You can't see it.
Right.
Blindly shoot fire at something.
I'm trying to get its attention.
All
you
right.
did.
Roll me the damage.
Roll for success.
11 fire damage.
11 fire damage. With 11 fire damage, all of a sudden, a bright light emanates throughout the entire cavern, and you feel, Harkus, you can feel the heat and warmth radiate out, and you hear a horrific scream. Just as the 9 hit point Yeti child is entirely immolated in flame all of a sudden out of
plan
nowhere.
B.
And you hear a tremendous multiple roars.
She missed her daddy. Oh my god.
Fill the cave as the Yeti child is entirely immolated in flame and is just up. You see a burning husk
Oh
on
my
the
god.
ground, sort of before you, and charging over directly in front of you, now catching directly in your line of sight, is a large, huge, female-looking Yeti, who now just immediately sees you, Leonard, directly in front of it, and shouldn't quite be this big. It can make it across that cavern. It is not too big to make it through that hole. We'll resize that just a little bit. But sees you and just lets out a horrific yell. Everybody can go ahead and roll initiative. I love this action.
I would love to say that I would cast it with the intent to miss, but I just don't think I can. I don't think in good conscience I can blindly miss the Yeti.
No, you sent the flamethrower out there. The Yeti child stared right at it, and you're like, "What do you?" And I'm like, "What do you do?" And you're like, "I burninate."
Yeah.
There
This is what we get. We try to do good.
Good job,
fails.
Trogdor.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I know, right?
There is a look of just tremendous hate coming off of the Yeti creature.
You think?
Yeah.
Pile of ashes.
I assume
that
this
was
is the
a
one that's
child.
not the charred husk.
No, these are big boy Yetis now.
Plural? There's more than I thought it was just the mama and the baby.
Mama and the brother.
Oh, I
Oh,
assume a big brother.
Mama, big brother, and baby just got immolated.
and because it was fire damage against an ice creature with 9 hit points.
It took double damage. It took 22.
Yeah. So it's gone.
It is a husk. It is a burning husk. It is still smoldering. You can smell it.
That smells awful.
All right.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm hungry, so
Where I come from, the response to this situation is to say, Rotide.
oh
All right. Up first in
what you
initiative
serve at a tailgate.
is Toot. Toot, you don't see any of this happening,
Mhm.
but Toot, you hear the horror.
Yeah, I just think that, oh, great, a distraction. So it's time for me to go, right? So I'm just gonna sneakily 5, 10, 15, 20. I don't know at what point I actually see this. Where's the ball?
You see it now. Where you're at, Toot, in the dark, you can see it. The halfling woman is sort of over here up against the wall in this cage made out of bones. And the 2 Yetis are staring directly opposite you. You're invisible. They're not looking at you at all.
All right, so I've moved my 30, but I want to be able to get up to this so that the next turn I can actually do something and try to like untie it or whatever. So I'm just gonna dash and
Yep.
try to be sneaky and get up to the halfling.
I'm
all
not
the
even
way.
going to make you roll a stealth check because Leonard just burninated their child. They are paying none attention to what you might be doing. Cadillac Granite Guts. What are you doing? You hear the yelling and
right.
felt the warmth of the fire, I think.
I am going to go right up to this corner, but I know what Toot is doing, and I do not want to harm Toot's chances. And I'm afraid I'm going to draw the attention of them. So I'm basically going to stand guard around this corner and ready in action.
All right, what's your action? You're readying?
I guess an attack. Because
Okay.
if they close to Toot, I should be able to in the next turn make it over. Well, if I go stomping my big dwarf stompers over there, I'm gonna draw their attention almost certainly. So yeah, I'm just gonna hold back for the moment and ready an attack in case they stampede in this direction.
Okay. You ready your lance to stab at something.
Correct.
Leonard, you have 2 horror beasts staring right at you.
Yep.
You can see them now, I think.
And they can see me.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, the drone is going to aim at the Yetis.
I mean, you're all in sight now. Everything's out in the open, baby.
Yeah. The drone is going to aim at the Yetis, and they both need to make dex saves.
All right. We got an 11. And we got an 11.
All right. 2 fails, so 6 fire damage.
All right. So each of them are going to take double to that.
And then Leonard is going to yell Change of plans, everybody.
Leonard lets out a yelp. The big Yeti is up first.
I still have my spell.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I am going to cast Scorching Ray.
Okay.
And let's see if that's going to roll all three
Ooh,
of them.
That's a big old hit of 23.
And then hang on. I accidentally used both spell slots for it. I have to make 3 attack rolls with it. Okay. So all those hit, 3 rays, 5, 6, and 10 fire damage against Big Mama.
Against Big Mama. All right. Here,
So-
I'll draw Big Mama a little bit bigger so that you can recognize the difference. I will upsize her one. All right. 5, 6, and 10.
Yeah, so 21 fire damage.
It lets out a horrific yell. And it takes your drone. And it's going to smash at your drone. 28 to hit.
That will hit.
And it does... How many HP does your drone have?
Probably less than it's going to take in damage. I think it has 10 hit points. I'll have to look that up.
It does 20 damage to the drone.
Oh no, it has 25 hit points.
Okay. So it does 20 slashing and 8 cold.
Okay, so the drone is kaput.
What happens is the drone just smashes into the wall of the cave. And the Yeti climbs up the 10-foot embankment. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Can it do that thing if it has taken fire damage?
You know what? That's a good question. Fear of the fire. If the Yeti takes fire damage, is disadvantage on attack roll. Oh, okay, disadvantage. Well, it still hit your drone. It was a 22 is the disadvantaged roll. No, just as disadvantage on attack rolls and
Okay,
ability checks.
I knew it was something if it took fire damage.
Yep.
All right.
So make me a con save.
$50.
Success. You are not chilled by the Yeti's chilling gaze. It lets out a horrific sound at you, though, as you manage to hold your water and not be afraid of what stands before you. Yatara, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna move just slightly. I mean, is the other one actually on the map where I could actually see it? Or can I not see the other Yeti?
You can't see it from where you're at, but yeah, it's on the map.
Okay.
It's in the dark right now for you.
Got it. I think this
As
one
you
in front
move
of
there,
me-
you see the horrific beast in front of you.
I think this one I'm gonna cast Hypnotic Pattern on it.
Okay. Not a pattern. So hypnotic pattern, you create a twisting pattern of colors that weaves through the air inside of a 30-foot cube within range.
Yeah, it has to make a Wisdom save.
Okay. Wisdom save. Oh, it fails that. Rolls a 4.
Ooh. All right, so it's
well,
charmed.
where are you putting the cube? Like, let me see if you can get both of them. You could, but I don't think you would know where to put it because you can't see the other one really.
Yeah, I can't see the other one, so I would think
I'm gonna-
just this one.
I'm going to rule that you can't really get it. But it fails.
So it's incapacitated for at least a minute and cannot move.
Okay, the creature is charmed for the duration. While charmed by the spell, it's incapacitated. It has a speed of 0. So it is just like standing there staring at the weaving colors. Like it is just hypnotized by your weave. I don't know what you do, but you just create an illusion inside of its mind, and it's just like seems to just its eyes like just dilate, and it just sort of just like
Visions of space whales.
yeah,
whales.
you give it visions of space whales. The other Yeti, however, it comes charging by and climbs up the cliff side. And that one is, now does the cube just stay there? Is it like if anything enters the cube? How does that work? No, it's just concentrating inside of 30.
It says it just appears for a moment and vanishes. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's creatures
It
that are
lasts for
only
a
in
minute.
there.
Yeah.
It's creatures that are in there. You've charmed them, but the other one can go through it. It's not like you keep an open area
Right.
of
Yep.
forever hypnotizing. So the other Yeti, it sees the other one as sort of like seeing space whales, climbs up, looks at the two of you, and it unleashes its breath. Everybody needs to make a Constitution saving throw, Leonard and Yatara. 17 for Leonard. Oh wait, no. I am sorry. I did this incorrectly. This one does not have that ability. It doesn't have a breath weapon. Only the big one has the breath weapon. So what's it gonna do? Never mind the con saves. It's just gonna run over and claw at you, Leonard.
Oh, that's better.
14 and 17. Either of those hit?
The 17 hits.
It did not roll the damage. Okay, it does 7 slashing damage and 4 cold damage to you.
All right.
And it's going to try to chilling gaze you, Yatara. So Yatara, you make me a con save. All right, you pass. You are not paralyzed. You don't take the cold damage. That's very good. Ordella, you're up.
Okay, I am going to come around the corner where Toot is. So it's my speed.
All right, Ordella, as you make it around the corner, you see the Yetis in the distance. They are looking the opposite direction and clawing at what you can only assume are your compatriots that went the opposite way around. Toot is there beside the halfling woman that is in the cage of bones.
All right, let's see. See what stuff I have. See if I can get her out of there, or can we just like roll her out?
You think you could maybe break the bones out or something like that? Or you could maybe try to cut her out? Depends on how quiet you want this to be.
Well, if they're distracted by a whole bunch of stuff,
Depends on how stealthily you want to try to break her out.
Would cutting constitute an attack that would cause her to be visible?
No.
Okay.
It'll be an action. It's not an attack.
Yeah, okay.
okay. All right, then. Easiest thing I got is my long sword. What's it made of?
It is made out of bone lashed together with leather.
Okay, then I am going to try to cut it with my long sword, I guess.
Okay. I don't think you need any check for this. You are able to, with your longsword and sort of
Hope so.
gnashing, cut the leather and create a big enough hole that the halfling woman is able to fall out.
If I hold her, will she be invisible too, or no?
No. Just all of, she doesn't see you or anything. Just all of
Oh.
a sudden, the leather sort of breaks open, and it's like she's able to slip out. She sort of glances back and forth, and carefully sort of slips out of the cage. As she does so, she sort of stammers down to her knee, and like coughs, and a little bit of blood like comes out on the cave floor, on the icy cave floor, and she sort of like nearly collapses, like she's gonna have to like crawl. Like she's starting to try to crawl her way out. Harkus, you're up.
All right. I'm gonna make my way around here. Let's see. I think I can make it to about right here.
Harkus, you're not invisible. You make it around the corner. You see the halfling woman crawling out of the cage. Toot and Ordella are. She sort of glances up at you and mouths help to you. You see the two. I don't know if you can see. You have dark vision. If you're able to see distance in the dark. You
Yeah.
can definitely see the edge of one of the Yetis, and it is howling into the dark, presumably at your compatriots.
Okay. So I'm going to fire my short bow at the big guy. I can see. Which is apparently a +1 short bow of some kind. I don't really remember.
Yep. Yeah, that hits. Yeah, it does 7 damage to it. And the Yeti just lets out a horrific roar as the arrow pierces it directly into the back. Toot, you're up. You're invisible. The halfling woman is trying to crawl out of the cage. She appears to be hurt pretty bad. Harkus just rounded the corner, and you can see him come around the corner. And just as you're invisible next to this one, draws his bow and just shoot.
Yeah, so
Harkus, you have a big stupid grin on your face, like I'm gonna kill this thing.
I got pelt on my mind, pelt on my mind.
yeah, so Harkus just revealed that we're back here, so I'm a little bit less stealthy at this point. And I will reach out and touch the halfling woman, gripping her arm. And as I do so, I'll say, "What do you call a child from Chernobyl with a broken leg?"
She
That's
just looks
a
at you.
sick. Yeah.
Love it.
As
So
I,
wrong. Too soon.
as it's
Like 40 years.
For the next like however many 100 years.
Dude, it's too soon compared to the radioactivity of
And you
But-
cast Healing Word for 7 HP.
I'm casting Healing Word, and then I'd like to try to use my movement, even half my movement, to try to help her around the corner here.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I don't know where I can get her, so you're welcome to move me and her
half
together.
her movement. She
Okay.
lets out a like a sudden like inhale a gasp, and she's able to sort of like make it to, I'm gonna say, about where you're at there. And
Okay.
she sees you now and sort of like clings to your wing, your shoulder, and like is struggling to kind of walk out even though you've healed her. But she doesn't say anything. She just like grips onto you and starts to try to make her way back. You pass by Harkus, who's got this stupid look on his face. Granite Guts, you're there. You have your spear ready. You start to see Toot with a halfling woman making their way around the corner. After you watched Harkus charge forward with a bow and arrow. Tron.
All right, so I basically run up, and since the whole point of this was to retrieve the halfling woman, I am going to grab the halfling woman from Toot and then transport her around the corner, and that's going to that's going to exhaust my movement.
You pick her up. You've got her like over your shoulder.
Yeah, and I transport her around this corner where she's out of the field of action, and then I say, "Stay here." And then I put my hand on her face and say, "The blessings of Sylvanas be upon you." And I grant her 10 additional HP.
Okay. She looks much better. She has no weapons or anything on her.
And then I just say, "Hide here." And then I use the dash action to get back up here to my friends.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you do that. Leonard, it comes back around to you. You're up next.
All right. Both these guys are in 15 feet of me, right?
Yeah, basically.
All right. I'm going to cast Thunder Wave.
Okay. So they need to make con saves.
Yes.
I wonder what Yeti Constitution is. That one's not good. That one was better. All right, the big one passes. The little one fails.
Okay, so the little one gets shoved back 10 feet and takes 23 thunder damage?
23 thunder damage.
Yes.
And it's shoved back 10 feet?
Uh-huh.
It sort of is blown backwards. And it takes 23, and it lets out a...
The big one takes half of 23, so 11?
Yes. 11.
And then Leonard is running back this way.
Okay. All right. Leonard is...
How far can I get?
Whatever your movement is.
Are these 5-foot squares?
You're running there about 50 feet, so that's probably too far.
Okay. All right.
You're able to get to about where Yatara is.
All right.
Yep, you're able to get to about there. The big Yeti is
These
up.
still not 5-foot squares?
Not exactly. Each square that you're in is 5 feet. Like the little squares. I can make them more evident if you like, not the big squares.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because the map was too small otherwise. So like, let me see here. If I can make the cells a little bit more visible. How's that? Is that better?
That's much better.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's slightly more confusing, I think, because the map has its own squares that are sort of overlying. So I think it's just sort of a little more messy. So I'm gonna actually turn that back down. Just know that each square that you guys are in is 5.
Okay. So I can iterate myself 6 squares and...
Yeah, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Each of the little squares. All right, the big one is up, and the big one is going to open its mouth and let out a giant breath of cold air at the two of you in the tunnel. Both of you make a con save. Yatara and Leonard.
Isn't it still under hypnotic pattern though?
Oh God, it is. That's
I
right.
don't think anymore. I think probably Thunder Wave negated that.
Let's see here. If on a fail, hang on. Let's see here. It must make a wisdom save. On a failed save, the creature becomes charmed for the duration. While charmed is incapacitated, the spell ends if any creature takes any damage from someone else. So it ended when it got thunder waved and when it got shot. Spell ends for an affected creature if it takes any damage or if someone else uses an action to shake the creature out of its stupor. So it ended when it took damage. And make a con save, Yatara and Leonard. Okay. Let me do this in the dice roller. The two of you take 37 cold damage.
Oh dear.
Oh shit.
As it unleashes a horrific breath. And after it blows at you, it snaps its head around to where it was arrowed in the back. And it's going to move 40 feet. Its movement in that direction. And lands directly on top of all of the rest of you.
Oh. I don't want to die.
And that's all it can do right now. Yatara, it's your turn. The littler one is still there in front of you.
I'm laying like a frozen popsicle on the ground right now.
Yeah, I'm dead.
You're both dead. Y'all are both unconscious
Yeah.
Yep.
with 37.
This is going poorly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Abort. Abort.
All right, Yatara, roll me a death save. Success. The other Yeti is up. And what's it gonna do? I think it climbs up, looks and sees that the two of you appear to be dead in the corner. And it's going to move back down this way towards Ordella.
Worse.
And it's going to use its chilling gaze on all of you. Everybody there.
Ordella
say,
is
am I
still
still
invisible.
Yeah.
Ordella's still
So-
invisible, so Ordella doesn't count. It can't see you. So then, Toot, are you still invisible?
No.
All right, so then
I cast a spell, so I'm visible.
Toot, Harkus, and Granite Guts, y'all make con saves.
The Yeti targets one creature it can see.
One creature. Okay, in that case, then the creature that it would target would be probably Harkus.
Well, that's unfair now that I've already rolled my con save.
I'll let you re-roll it. I'll let you go ahead. You can re-roll it because you didn't know that beforehand. That's better. You succeeded. Invisible Ordella, you're up.
Can I see the other group from where I am?
You cannot.
Okay. Then, gee, how's our way out? We're just going around. Okay.
You know that this thing unleashed a horrific, like just absolutely horrific, like cone of cold into the tunnel where your compatriots were, and you haven't heard from them, and they have seemed to have left that tunnel, attacking that tunnel.
Okay.
That's what you know.
Yeah. All right.
Like
so I'm gonna move.
you probably fear for your friends.
Yes. Very much so. I'm going to move back, and I'm going to, I guess, shoot at the big one with my crossbow from a distance.
Okay.
Please.
Hits.
Yay. Oh, useless.
Okay.
I mean, points are points.
It is true. You're a fighter, but you don't get second attack with crossbows unless you're a crossbow expert,
I don't know.
unfortunately.
Oh.
Harkus, you're up.
Okay,
It's
so
attacks per action too.
the monk's gonna do monk things. So I have 2 attacks now at level 5.
Yep.
And then I believe that if I use my unarmed strike and a key point, I get 2 more. So I think I have 4. Is that accurate?
You would get 2 attacks. You could use a key point. Yes, you'd get 4 attacks.
Okay.
Mine
Alright.
says attacks per action too. It doesn't say specific.
But he can use a key point to do flurry of blows.
Yeah.
which gives him 2 more hits. So
Yeah,
he would
but-
get attack, he would get second attack, and then he could flurry of blows for 2 more.
Your 2 attacks are dependent upon what you're using.
Okay, it just says 2.
Yeah.
Right. You don't get, if it's a crossbow, you have to reload the crossbow. So you can't do it
And that's
twice.
your second aim.
Okay.
All right.
Now you can take
so-
a feat crossbow expert that will allow you to do this, but you have to reload the bolt.
That makes sense.
Okay. So quarterstaff to the big guy.
Okay. To the big one. 13 is a miss.
Quarterstaff to the big guy.
That hits. Does 6.
Then flurry of blows.
Hits.
And I'll just roll it again just to be done with it.
Misses.
Okay, so
All right. It's 5 damage. Rounding the corner.
does
Cross-
the big one still look just perfectly fine?
It's definitely injured. It's got Yeti blood running down it.
Okay.
Rounding the corner, around the ice bridge where he had intended to go all along, is Atnas Swift. Sees the body of Leonard and Yatara both lying there frozen. And stealthily sneaks up. And Leonard, he administers something to you. Takes 7 hit points back.
All right.
As Atnas looks at you and he says, "It's best to come prepared." And he's administered a salve of healing to you, Leonard,
He's getting a
As-
tip.
as you regain consciousness. And Toot, you're up.
Okay. So I think I should be able to get this so that I don't hurt any of my party, but I'd like to cast Shatter at 3rd level, so I'm upcasting it.
Okay.
And try to hit both of them, please.
Okay.
Constitution saving throw, which I'm sure is quite good.
All right, we've got a 13 and we've
Fail.
got a 12. They both fail.
They both fail, so they both take 19 damage.
Okay.
Uh,
Toot, what happens is the whole room just explodes and ice just falls from the ceiling and shatters everywhere as the ice from the ice cave just like comes collapsing down, and the smaller Yeti is just entirely crushed. You hear a and just it is just buried, and you see it stop twitching underneath the piles of rocks and rubble. The larger one sort of falls down and is prone now underneath the pile of rubble, but is definitely still alive.
Okay, and I'm just muttering very loudly, "Time to go, time to go, time to go." And I'm using my movement to go around the corner.
As you round the corner, the halfling woman that was previously in the cage is there. She's much more alive looking, as she's been healed a couple times and is breathing, but looks quite beat up. Cadillac
Yeah,
Granite Guts.
And I just look over at her and say, "Run."
She says, "He said stay." Okay.
No, move, move.
And she starts scrambling to get to her feet. Granite Guts, you're up.
I grab Harkus and run. How
What is-
can I drag Harkus?
Is Harkus willingly
reasonable?
going away, or is Harkus like, "I want to kill it. I want to kill it"? Harkus is fighting it. All right, can make me a contested strength.
Yeah, yeah.
checks.
Is this going to be a contested? I intend to
Yeah.
yank him out of here.
I'm reluctantly going, but I'm swinging on the way out just to
All right,
show my
so-
frustration.
Yeah, you're able to pull him out then, so you can move your movement away.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, so I can get here.
Leonard, you're up.
All right. I am going to, with my artificer powers, cast Cure Wounds on
Gun.
Yutara.
I cast gun.
And then I am
Oof.
1, 2, 3. Pacing out to here.
All right, Yutara, you regain 6 hit points. You wake up. Atlas Swift looks over at you and goes, okay, I think we're getting out. The big Yeti is up. It has 40 feet of movement speed, and it charges around the corner.
Hang on, didn't you say it was prone?
Yeah, it is.
Half
You're
its
right.
movement?
Half its movement. You're absolutely right. It can make it to about here.
A long stride.
It's a long stride. Yep, it can make it to about there. All right, this is all going to depend on a dice roll here, boys and girls. It does not get back its breath weapon. Thank God to that one, because if it got back that breath weapon, woo! Yutara, you're up and have regained consciousness.
I'm gonna run away.
Okay. You make it. Are you sprinting across the bridge of ice, or are you guys slowing down to try to make your way across the bridge of ice?
I'm
I'll
gonna go
call-
slowish.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable sprinting across the potentially fragile bridge of ice.
Yeah, it's just a question of like how quickly do you want out of there?
Nope,
I think I'm
not
I think
quickly
that's as
enough
far
to
as I
risk
can go
the
right
ice
now.
bridge.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to make it however far your movement is. Yutara, I'm not sure where your token went.
Yep, I moved it.
Oh, you're right
30
underneath
feet.
Leonard.
Yeah.
All right, Ordella, you're up.
Right.
The Yeti got out of from underneath the stuff and is charging this way.
Okay, I'm going to fire another crossbow bolt at it, just for fun, and then head out of there.
That's a crit.
Sweet. Sweet.
Okay. Do you catch the Yeti straight in the throat? And it sort of
Nice.
stammers. It stammers backwards about 5 feet, and just lets out a horrific roar. And you can't really see what happens to it. You hear a thunk,
Good.
and you run that way.
Heck yeah.
Harkus, you're up.
I trust that the thud was loud enough that I heard it as well,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go right back in here.
Harkus breaks free. Harkus,
Oh my God.
roll me a strength check. Roll me a strength check,
I'm gonna
Harkus.
go right back in there.
Yes, Harkus crits the strength check and just breaks free of Granite Guts' hold and charges right back in. It is slumped against the wall where there's an arrow, a crossbow bolt in its throat.
Okay. And then basically I'm going to unleash my 4 attacks on it again.
Okay. Hits. That's bad damage, but
It is bad damage.
hits.
Oh my God, come on. And then
Flurry of blows. Hits.
oh, I gotta clear these out. Okay. Oh, come on!
Wow.
I've literally rolled a 1 every single time.
Yeah, that's
A
real
flurry
bad.
of duds.
Oh, you crit. Oh, you crit.
Nice.
Okay, Harkus, describe to me how you charge in and punch to death a giant Yeti. Just describe how this happens.
So basically, I hit him, and then at the last, I just grab a hold of the bolt that's in his neck and rip it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
You just tear the bolt out, and the Yeti just like lets loose a roar, and blood comes flying out of the giant gaping wound in its throat, and it falls over face first into the
I was about to say, turn it on its side
into
so it
the
doesn't stain
into the
the
snow.
pill.
It just falls over like just like face first. Just
But make sure it drains properly.
And I immediately go to skinning.
You hear, everyone else hears a thunk, and Harkus broke free. Do you shout anything after you punch crit it in the throat, ripping? You reach into its throat and pull the bolt out. Do you give a yippee-ki-yay or anything?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother Yeti! And just
Jackpot!
and you just rip.
And now we found the title for the show.
As Harkus rips the Yeti's throat out from a Ordella crit crossbow bolt. That was the coolest way to kill a Yeti ever, with 2 crits in a row.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Roll.
The as you're out of initiative and the threat has passed, you hear Harkus go into skinning. You have the body of 2 Yetis, one that's buried under a bunch of rocks. Atnus by now has made his way around with all of you as he's followed you guys. And you see Harkus just skinning the giant big Yeti. There's the lump of ashes that was the child Yeti.
I was gonna say, as soon as Atnus gets around, I'm gonna look him dead in his face and roar like a Yeti again.
He looks at you and just sort of shakes his head, like, and he sort of says to all of you, says, "Well, it's clear you can handle yourselves." The young woman, the halfling woman, who is near death, who seemingly has been kept warm and alive as the plaything for this Yeti's child, she tells you that her name is Perilou Fishfinger. And Perilou tells you that she was a member of Garrett's campaign. That she had gone along with Garrett Velrin, the man who Keegan had asked you, who owned the dog, had asked you to find his partner. She tells you that they were jumped and surprised on the mountainside by a male Yeti that had beaten and killed one of their companions, a Goliath man, and ripped his head off, which Harkus, while she's telling this tale as you're skinning the Yeti, you realize you saw the head of the Goliath man inside of the Cavern of Heads. And she tells you that the other party members ran. She says Garrett Velrin made his way sort of down the mountain trying to go get help. But he fell at the, well, she doesn't really know this, but tried to make his way down the mountain, and others scattered upwards. She and her Goliath companion were caught, and she had been trapped in this cage as the plaything of the child Yeti for some period of time. She thanks you all profusely for her rescue. What do you do? Do you ask her of anything of her, or do you just rest here, or?
Well, I think we could ask sort of.
Why?
Yeah.
Why were you coming up the mountain?
Yeah.
She says, "My companions and I, we wished to be the first to make it all the way to the very summit. as it were. We, you know, set the records and everything.
Toot just slow blinks at her.
Roll insight too. Toot continues blinking. He doesn't know what to make of that. He just blinks. She says, I should really like to know what happened to the rest of them. They, we sort of broke different ways.
I pull out the necklace of Garrett and show it to her.
She sort of hangs her head a little bit and says, so he didn't make it then.
I shake my head.
Well, thank you for my rescue.
I'm going to ask her if she has any sort of insight, if they were planning on reaching the summit, if there's anything that she can tell us, perhaps in their preparation, that might benefit us as
So you sort of push
we
her on
try
the
to
summit.
do the same thing.
You push her on the summit just a little bit.
Yeah.
She sort of seems to kind of she seems to be like withholding something. And she sort of talks about it. She says, well, we gathered all the gear. We hired Garrett Vlarin out of Targos. He's one of the best mountain guides around. And Atnas Swift sort of looks over and goes, Garrett was definitely a mountain man. He knew his thing. He knew his stuff. For him to have not made it, well, not any party could handle these Yetis. It's clear that this group is something special. She says, yes, well. But she seems to be holding something back a bit.
All right, I'm if I recognize that she's holding something back, I'm just going to walk over there sort of bloodied with Yeti schmutz all over me and just go, clearly you're hiding something. What was the real purpose?
She says, well, okay. My companions, and myself, I suppose, we wanted to do something about it. And, you know, the legends, they say that, well, Mokingo, he knew more than I did, but the legends say of a great weapon hidden in the summit of the mountain, left there by the very angels themselves that did battle upon the peaks. We wanted to try to find said weapon.
I'm going to look back sort of at Leonard.
Yeah, I'll just casually break out my drawing of the peak. And
Yeah,
see.
and she looks over at it and says, yes, something like this.
Well, that's where we're headed. So anything helpful from your preparations would. I hear it's not the easiest climb.
Well, no one's ever found it. You know, it's rumors say that it's some sort of magical stone or magical sword or something. No one's ever found it, and to be honest with you, I don't know that anyone has ever made it to the very peak itself of the mountain. It's a treacherous climb.
Did
Love
you
it.
have, did you have a plan as to how to get there? Did you?
I will be honest, I was not the planner. No, I joined the party, but Garrett knew the mountainsides, and
If
we
only we had found him in time.
If
were
only
going-
we had a dog.
we were going to use our crampons and ropes and our skill We were going to risk life and limb and make the climb.
Okay. Well, I think at this point we can. I guess we can offer her the option of sort of staying here in the Yeti cave now that it's de-Yetied. Or she's probably in no condition to come with us, but could.
She has
send
some
her
levels of
back down.
she has some levels of exhaustion, but if you say you're heading upwards, she says, "I'll gladly tag along. I should like to know if any of my other companions, what fates became of them."
Okay.
And so we have found the guy who got his head cut off, the Goliath. And we have found Gareth. How many more people were in her party?
She says that Garrett was there. She says that Mokingo, her Goliath companion, she is Perilu Fishfinger, and she says there was one other. And let me make sure I've got her name right, okay? She says one other member of our party, a tiefling woman, Asterix.
I'll show her my picture of the tiefling woman.
And
Is this Ice Cube your friend?
You show her the picture of the tiefling woman, and she begins to cry. She says, "Yes, she was our wizard." And yeah, you don't know where she is, but
All right, she's somewhere up ahead, I guess. I want to prowl through where the adult Yetis were to see if there's anything worthwhile that they.
Okay. Roll me investigation.
Jeff, I'm just going to stand here and start shaking my head at the realization that what I should have done was beaten him with Ubok's helmet.
I liked what you did,
And like it's an opportunity lost. So
ripping the crosswivel tail.
There's still time.
Leonard, you dig through the pile of refuse and bones and things. You find an amulet made out of gold and silver, buried amongst all the detritus.
Wonderful.
And she cries a single tear. Not a single tear, but several tears, as you have shown her the picture of Asterix, her wizard companion that had went on ahead, it seems, or had fled upwards the mountain from the Yeti attack. She basically tells you that she tried to hide in the cave and then became the plaything of the child Yeti. Apparently Garrett went down the mountain, and you know what happened to Mokingo. His head got ripped off. And I think that's where we'll leave it for the evening.
That was exciting.
Mm-hmm. That was Leonard's next brush with death. It seems like I get about one of those a week.
Not every week, but not every week.
Once you got
but,
Donatello ready.
Yeah, true.
It wouldn't be an exciting campaign if it wasn't possible.
Oh, loving it.
All I've got to say is that you're very lucky you hired a guide instead of just climbing up here by yourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. He has earned his keep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seriously, like if you had just climbed up by yourselves, I would have let you go, but I wouldn't have had anybody there to provide aid. His whole purpose was aid you if you got into trouble.
Worth every penny.
Yep.
Someone's going to get a tip.
Yeah. I hope you guys had a good time
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the Yeti Cave. I love the way you chose to handle it. It was a lot of debate about what's the best method, but then burninating
Well,
the Yeti child wound up
I
being
mean-
an interesting solution.
Solutions find themselves sometimes.
We want to do this stealthily and spare them.
Set it ablaze.
What do? I immolate the child with my flamethrower.
I light a
couldn't
match.
see. I couldn't see. I had already decided I was going to try to get its attention, and I wasn't going to take that back just because it was staring down the barrel, I couldn't tell that from where I was.
Nope, not
That's
till you move
fair.
forward.
I mean, that's fair.
I'll take it.
I just didn't know I had 9 hit points.
You ever when you attack a child yeti? Hey, hang on. How many hit points do you have? Okay.
Right. Exactly. No, the answer is 9. So we don't need
Note
to
to
ask.
self.
Now you know. Child Yeti Tykes. It's literally called a Yeti Tyke. Have
Oh,
9 hit
wow.
points.
9 hit points.
I hope you guys had a good time. I thought that was
Yes.
a ton of fun. Nice
Yeah.
job with what you did. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week for, I guess, ascending to the peak of the mountain. And then let us not forget, you still back in town have a local mayor that has invisible foes that are causing all kinds of trouble that you have agreed in exchange for your room and board and your kingly treatment after he recognized you in the city of Karakonic to help him understand what was happening. And Trovus was his name. I couldn't remember it for the longest. Trovus, the Dragonborn. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.